Captain Jake Morrison walked into the huge meeting hall on Centauri Prime. The place was enormous, bigger than any building he had ever seen on Earth. Thousands of aliens sat in rows that went up so high he could barely see the top. Each alien looked different from the others. Some had blue skin, others had scales, and some looked like walking trees. Jake wore his best uniform. The dark blue fabric had small medals on the chest. His boots made quiet sounds on the smooth floor as he walked to the center of the room. Behind him walked Commander Lisa Hayes. She carried a small computer that held all the information they needed. The noise in the room was strange. Different aliens made different sounds when they talked. Some clicked, others buzzed, and a few made sounds like singing. The computer in Jake's ear translated everything into English, but it still sounded weird. Jake reached the speaking area in the middle of the room. A bright light shone down on him. He could feel thousands of eyes watching him. Some of those eyes were bigger than his whole head. Others were tiny like dots. All of them looked at him like he was some kind of strange animal. The head of the meeting was a tall alien called Chairman Vorthak. He had purple skin and 4 arms. His voice was deep and slow when he spoke. The human delegation may now present their request to the Galactic Council, Chairman Vorthak said. Jake looked around the room one more time. Then he began to speak in a clear, strong voice. Thank you, Chairman. My name is Captain Jake Morrison. I speak for all humans in our galaxy. We come here today not as enemies. We come as friends who want to help. Some aliens in the crowd made sounds that might have been laughing. Others just stared at him. Jake continued. We have watched your wars for many years. We have seen how different species fight each other. We have studied your battles and your conflicts. We understand that fighting happens in space just like it happened on our home planet. A red alien with 6 legs stood up. Human Morrison, why should we care what your young species thinks about our conflicts? You have been in space for less than 100 years. We have been fighting wars for thousands of years. Jake nodded. You are right. We are new to space. But being new does not mean we are stupid. It does not mean we have not learned things. We want to share something important with all of you. Lisa stepped forward and handed Jake the small computer. Jake held it up so everyone could see. We want to give you a warning. Not a threat. A warning. Please do not make us angry. Please do not attack human worlds or human people. We do not want to fight you. But if you force us to fight, you will not like what happens. The room became very quiet for a moment. Then many aliens started making loud sounds. Some were definitely laughing now. Others sounded angry. A crystal-like alien called Ambassador Zexthor stood up. His body looked like it was made of clear glass. When he talked, his voice sounded like bells ringing. Captain Morrison, are you threatening the Galactic Council? Your species has shown us nothing but peaceful behavior since you joined our community. You trade with us, you share technology with us. You help us solve small problems. Now you stand here and talk about making you angry like anger is some kind of weapon. Jake kept his face calm. Ambassador Zexthor, anger can be a weapon. When peaceful people become angry, they can become very dangerous. We are trying to prevent that from happening. A huge alien with gray skin and 4 arms laughed loudly. This was General Thrak from the Krillian Empire. He was famous for winning many battles. Captain, we have studied human military power. You have small fleets. Your weapons are basic. Your soldiers are brave but not specially trained. Your entire species could not defeat one of our minor battle groups. What exactly are you warning us about? Lisa looked at Jake. She wanted to show the aliens some of their secret information, but Jake shook his head slightly. Not yet. General, Thrak, I hope you never have to find out what we are warning you about. But let me tell you something about humans. When we are happy and safe, we are the most peaceful people in the galaxy. We would rather build things than break them. We would rather help people than hurt them. Jake paused and looked around the room again. His voice became more serious. But when someone hurts innocent people, when someone attacks those who cannot defend themselves, when someone tries to destroy what we have built with our own hands, then we become something else. We become something you do not want to meet in battle. An alien that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles together. What exactly changes about humans when they become angry? Jake thought about the wars on Earth. He thought about what humans did when their families were threatened. He thought about the weapons they had built but never used, the ships they had designed but never shown to other species. When humans become angry, we do not just fight to win battles. We fight to win wars. We do not fight until we get tired. We fight until the threat is completely gone. We do not fight with rules that protect our enemies. We fight with everything we have and everything we can create. The room was getting quieter. Some aliens were starting to look uncomfortable. We have a saying on Earth, Jake continued. It is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. We choose to be gardeners. We grow food, we build homes, we raise children, we make art. But never forget that we can be warriors when we need to be. Chairman Vorthak raised one of his 4 hands. Captain Morrison, the Galactic Council appreciates your warning. We will consider your words carefully. However, most species here have been fighting wars since before your planet had intelligent life. We know how to judge military threats. Jake picked up his computer and handed it back to Lisa. He straightened his uniform and looked directly at Chairman Vorthak. I hope you are right, Chairman. I truly hope you never have cause to test whether we are as dangerous as we claim to be. Because if that day comes, if someone forces us to show our true nature, then this peaceful meeting will seem like a happy memory compared to what follows. The human delegation turned and walked toward the exit. Behind them, thousands of aliens talked loudly among themselves. Most of them seemed to think the human warning was foolish. Some thought it was funny. A very few looked worried. As Jake and Lisa left the Great Hall, Lisa whispered, "Do you think they believed us?" Jake shook his head sadly. "No. They think we are weak because we choose to be peaceful. They will learn the difference eventually. I just hope it does not cost too many lives when they do." Outside the hall, the 2 humans walked toward their small ship. Neither of them knew that in just a few months the galaxy would discover exactly what humans meant when they said not to make them angry. 3 months passed after the meeting on Centauri Prime. The alien leaders had forgotten about the human warning. They went back to their own business and their own wars. They thought humans were just another weak species that liked to talk big, but could not fight. Admiral Korath of the Sarn Empire was different from other alien leaders. He was huge, even for his species. His skin was dark red like blood, and he had sharp teeth that could bite through metal. He commanded the biggest war fleet in his part of the galaxy. Other species feared him because he never lost a battle. Korath looked at the star map in his command ship. His yellow eyes focused on a small system at the edge of human space. The system had only one planet with people on it. The planet was called New Colorado. "Tell me about this human world," Korath said to his intelligence officer. The officer was a thin alien with blue skin. He read from his computer screen. "New Colorado has 40,000 humans. They grow food and raise animals. They have no military bases. They have no weapons that could fight spaceships. They asked the Galactic Council for protection, but the Council said no." Korath smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Perfect. The Sarn Empire will teach the galaxy what happens to species that make threats they cannot keep. We will destroy this human world completely. Other species will see what we do and remember not to challenge us." The Sarn war fleet was enormous. 100 ships moved through space toward the human colony. The biggest ships were as long as mountains. They carried weapons that could break planets apart. The smaller ships moved like hunting animals around the big ones. On New Colorado, people lived normal, peaceful lives. Farmers worked in green fields under a yellow sun. Children played in schools and parks. Doctors and teachers did their jobs, just like people did on Earth. Dr. Amy Chen worked in the main hospital in the biggest city. She was young and had come to New Colorado because she wanted to help people in the frontier colonies. She liked the quiet life and the friendly people. Amy was checking on a patient when the hospital's emergency system started making loud noises. Red lights flashed on the walls. A voice came over the speakers. "All citizens report to emergency. Shelters immediately." Unknown ships detected in our system. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Amy looked out the window and saw bright lights moving across the sky. The lights were getting bigger and closer. Her heart started beating very fast. The first attack came without any warning. Bright beams of energy shot down from the sky and hit the city's power station. The explosion was so big that windows broke all over the city. Then more beams hit the water treatment plant and the communication center. Amy ran to the hospital's emergency radio. She turned it on and spoke into the microphone. This is Dr. Amy Chen at New Colorado General Hospital. Unknown ships are attacking our city. They are hitting civilian targets. We need immediate help. Please, someone answer us. The radio made static noises, but no one answered. Outside, the attack was getting worse. The Sarn ships were not trying to capture the planet. They were trying to destroy everything on it. Energy beams hit schools and homes and shops. People ran through the streets looking for safe places to hide. Amy tried the radio again. This is New Colorado calling any human ships. We are under attack. The aliens are killing civilians. They are bombing hospitals and schools. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help. Still no answer came. Admiral Korath watched the attack from his command ship. He was pleased with how easy it was. The humans had no defenses at all. Their small security force had only ground weapons that could not reach his ships. Target their medical facilities next, Korath ordered. I want the galaxy to see that we show no mercy to those who threaten us. The Sarn ships fired on the hospitals. Amy's hospital shook as explosions happened all around it. The lights went out and emergency power came on. Injured people started arriving, but Amy had no way to help many of them. She tried the radio one more time. Her voice was shaking now. This is Dr. Amy Chen on New Colorado. They are destroying our hospitals now. They are killing doctors and patients. My God. They are targeting anyone who tries to help the wounded. These are not soldiers fighting soldiers. These are monsters killing innocent people. The attack continued for 6 hours. When it was over, most of the cities on New Colorado were burning ruins. 38,000 people were dead. The few survivors hid in underground shelters or in the forests outside the cities. Amy was one of the survivors. She had stayed in her hospital until the very end, trying to save as many people as she could. When the building finally caught fire, other survivors pulled her out. She sat in a field outside the destroyed city and looked at the smoke rising from where her hospital used to be. Her hands were covered with blood from trying to help people. Her uniform was torn and dirty. The emergency radio still worked. Amy picked it up and tried one more time to call for help. This is New Colorado. If any humans can hear this message, please listen carefully. The Sarn Empire attacked our world today. They killed almost everyone. They did not want our land or our resources. They wanted to make an example of us. They wanted to show the galaxy what happens when humans make threats. Amy's voice became angry now, angrier than she had ever been in her life. Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them the Sarn killed children in schools and patients in hospitals. Tell them the aliens laughed while they burned our cities. Tell them we tried to be peaceful, but peaceful people still deserve to live. 3. Days later, the message reached Earth through the quantum communication system. When the leaders on Earth saw the pictures of New Colorado, when they heard Amy's voice describing the attack, something changed in every human who saw it. The age of human patience was over. The time for anger had begun. The message from New Colorado reached Earth on a Tuesday morning. President Robert Clark was eating breakfast when his emergency phone rang. The phone only rang when something very bad happened. Mr. President, you need to see this immediately, said General Patricia Woods. Her voice sounded different than usual. It sounded cold and angry. 20 minutes later, President Clark sat in the war room deep under the White House. On the big screen in front of him, he watched Dr. Amy Chen's message from New Colorado. He saw pictures of burning hospitals and destroyed schools. He heard her voice describing how the aliens had laughed while killing children. When the message ended, the room was completely quiet. The president looked around at his advisors. Secretary of Defense Daniel Foster had tears in his eyes. General Woods was staring at the table with her hands clenched into fists. How many people lived on New Colorado? the president asked quietly. 40,000, sir, said Admiral Ryan Burke, commander of the human space fleet. 38,000 are confirmed dead. The survivors are hiding in the forests. President Clark closed his eyes for a moment. And the Galactic Council? They issued a statement this morning, Foster said. They called the attack regrettable but said it was within Sarn territorial rights. They are not going to help us. The president opened his eyes and looked at Admiral Burke. Ryan, I need to know something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Can we make the Sarn pay for what they did? Admiral Burke was quiet for a long time. Then he smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Mr. President, I have been waiting my whole career for someone to ask me that question. What do you mean? Sir, for the last 40 years we have been building ships and training soldiers while telling the galaxy we were peaceful. We let them think our fleet was small and weak. We let them believe we only had basic weapons. We wanted them to think we were not dangerous. Admiral Burke stood up and walked to another screen. He pressed some buttons, and new pictures appeared. The pictures showed huge spaceships that looked like nothing the aliens had ever seen. We have been preparing for this day since we first met other species in space. We knew that someone would eventually test us. We knew that peaceful people sometimes have to fight to protect innocent people. General Woods joined Admiral Burke at the screen. Mr. President, we have 3,000 ships ready for combat. The aliens think we have less than 100. Our weapons are 50 years more advanced than anything they have seen. Our soldiers have been training for space warfare since they were children. President Clark stared at the pictures. The ships looked deadly and beautiful at the same time. They were painted black like the space between stars. How long to reach Sarn space, he asked. 72 hours, sir, Admiral Burke said. Captain Tony Valdez is already preparing the first battle group. The ship UES Retribution is loaded and ready to go. The president thought about the dead children on New Colorado. He thought about Dr. Amy Chen trying to save people while buildings burned around her. He thought about the aliens who had laughed while killing innocent people. Do it, he said. Show them what happens when they make us angry. 3 days later, Captain Tony Valdez stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution at the edge of Sarn space. His ship was enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever shown to aliens, but it was invisible to Sarn sensors because of special technology the humans had kept secret. Around him, 200 other human ships waited in the darkness. They were all invisible. They all carried weapons that could destroy planets. They all had crews who were angry about New Colorado. Captain, said Lieutenant Karen Price, the weapons officer. Sarn 3rd Fleet detected. Admiral Korath's flagship is in the center of their formation. Tony looked at the enemy ships on his screen. They looked big and dangerous, but he was not afraid. He had trained for this his whole life. Open a communication channel to Admiral Korath, Tony ordered. A few seconds later, Korath's ugly face appeared on the screen. The Sarn Admiral looked confident and proud. I am Admiral Korath of the Sarn Empire. You are trespassing in our space, human. Leave now or be destroyed. Tony smiled the same cold smile that Admiral Burke had smiled in the war room. Admiral Korath, this is Captain Tony Valdez of the United Earth Ship Retribution. 3 days ago, you murdered 38,000 innocent people on New Colorado. You have exactly 1 hour to surrender yourself for trial. This is your only warning. Korath laughed loudly. His sharp teeth showed when he laughed. 1 human ship threatens the entire Sarn 3rd Fleet. Your species learned nothing from New Colorado. You are still making threats you cannot keep. 1 ship? Tony said. He looked at Lieutenant Price and nodded. Suddenly, all around the Sarn fleet, human ships became visible. 200 deadly black ships appeared out of nowhere like ghosts becoming real. Each ship was bigger and more dangerous than anything the Sarn had ever seen. Korath's face changed. His confident smile disappeared. His yellow eyes became wide with fear. Impossible, he whispered. Our intelligence said humans only had small ships. Our intelligence said you were weak. Your intelligence was wrong, Tony said. You wanted to see what happens when you make humans angry. Now you will learn. The Sarn ships tried to run, but they were too slow. The human ships moved like hunters chasing prey. Sarn weapons fired desperately, but their energy beams could not penetrate human shields. The battle lasted 14 minutes. When it was over, the entire Sarn Third Fleet was destroyed or captured. Admiral Korath's flagship was damaged, but not destroyed. Tony wanted Korath alive to face trial for what he had done. As the last Sarn ship surrendered, Tony opened a communication channel to all remaining Sarn forces in the area. "This is Captain Valdez to all Sarn military units. Your Third Fleet no longer exists. Admiral Korath is our prisoner. Any Sarn ship that approaches human space will be destroyed without warning. Any Sarn ship that attacks civilians will be hunted down and eliminated." Tony closed the channel and looked around his bridge. His crew was quiet and professional. They had done their job well. "Lieutenant Price, send a message to Earth. Tell them the first phase is complete. Tell them New Colorado has been avenged." But Tony knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn what humans really meant when they said not to make them angry. News of the battle at Sarn Space traveled fast across the galaxy. Within hours, every alien government knew that the humans had destroyed an entire Sarn fleet in just 14 minutes. At first, many aliens thought the reports were mistakes or lies. On the planet Zephyr, Ambassador Zexthor sat in his crystal palace reading the battle reports. His glass-like body shook as he read the numbers. 200 human ships had appeared from nowhere. The Sarn Third Fleet was completely destroyed. Admiral Korath was captured alive. "This cannot be real," Zexthor said to his assistant. "The humans only have trading ships and small patrol boats. Our intelligence files show they have no major military force." His assistant, a young Zephyrian named Crix, brought more reports. "Sir, we are receiving similar reports from 47 different star systems. Human fleets are attacking Sarn military bases everywhere. They are moving faster than our communication systems can track them." Zexthor's crystal body became darker, which meant he was afraid. "Show me our intelligence files on human military strength." The files appeared on a screen in front of him. According to alien intelligence, humans had fewer than 100 ships total. Their weapons were basic energy cannons. Their soldiers were brave but not well trained. Their technology was at least 50 years behind the major galactic powers. "All of this information is wrong," Zexthor whispered. "Completely wrong." On the planet Krill, General Thrak was having the same terrible realization. He stood in his war room looking at tactical displays that showed human ships attacking Sarn positions across 16 different worlds. The attacks were happening at exactly the same time, which should have been impossible. "How many ships do the humans really have?" Thrak asked his intelligence chief. "We do not know, General. Our estimates were based on what they showed us during trade missions and diplomatic visits. We never considered that they might be hiding their true strength." Thrak's forearms moved nervously as he studied the battle reports. "Look at these attack patterns. Perfect coordination across multiple star systems. No wasted movements, no hesitation. These are not the actions of a species that learned space warfare recently. General, we are receiving reports that human special forces have landed on Sarn military worlds. They are destroying weapons factories and command centers with precision strikes. They seem to know exactly where every important Sarn facility is located." Thrak felt cold fear in his stomach. "They have been watching us. All this time, while we thought they were weak, peaceful traders, they were studying us. They were learning our weaknesses and preparing for war." Meanwhile, on Centauri Prime, the Galactic Council was meeting in emergency session. Chairman Vorthak stood before the assembled delegates, his purple skin pale with worry. "The situation is worse than we first thought," he announced. "Human forces are not just attacking the Sarn fleet. They are systematically destroying all Sarn military capability across their entire empire." A small alien with green fur raised her hand. "Chairman, how is this possible? The humans had no significant military presence just 1 week ago." Ambassador Lisa Hayes, who had stood with Captain Morrison during the original warning, appeared on a holographic screen. She was now wearing the uniform of an admiral. Her face was calm, but her eyes were hard. "Honored delegates," Admiral Hayes said, "you asked how this is possible. The answer is simple. You never bothered to look beyond what we chose to show you. The room became very quiet. Every alien delegate stared at the human admiral. For 40 years, every human trade mission has included intelligence officers. Every human diplomat has been gathering information about your military capabilities. Every human colony has been equipped with hidden defense systems. Every human trade ship has been designed to convert into a warship if needed. Chairman Vorthak's forearm shook. You have been spying on us for decades? We have been preparing, Admiral Hayes replied. We knew that eventually, someone would test our resolve. We knew that in a galaxy full of predators, prey animals do not survive by being helpless. They survive by being more dangerous than they appear. An alien that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles angrily. You deceived the entire Galactic Council. You pretended to be weak while building a secret military force. Admiral Hayes nodded. Yes, we did, and it worked perfectly. You dismissed us as harmless. You ignored our warnings. And when the Sarn attacked innocent civilians, you told us we were on our own. She paused and looked directly at the camera, as if she could see every alien delegate. The Sarn wanted to make an example of humanity. They wanted to show the galaxy what happens to species that dare to threaten their betters. Instead, they have made an example of themselves. The galaxy now knows what happens when someone pushes peaceful people too far. The reports continued to come in throughout the day. Human forces had struck simultaneously at every major Sarn military installation. Weapons factories were destroyed. Command centers were captured. Supply depots were eliminated. Most disturbing to the galactic observers was how precisely the humans operated. They destroyed only military targets. They did not harm civilians. They did not damage non-military buildings. But they completely eliminated the Sarn Empire's ability to fight wars. Dr. Helen Rodriguez, a human scientist aboard one of the attacking ships, monitored Sarn communications during the campaign. She listened as Sarn commanders tried desperately to coordinate their defenses. Captain Davis, she reported to her ship's commander. The Sarn are requesting immediate ceasefire. They are offering to pay reparations for New Colorado. They are willing to surrender all territorial claims in human space. Captain Nicole Davis looked at the tactical display showing fleeing Sarn ships. Too late for negotiations, Doctor. They had their chance to avoid this when Captain Morrison warned them 3 months ago. The human ships continued their methodical destruction of Sarn military power. There was no mercy, but there was also no cruelty. The humans fought like machines, efficient and unstoppable. By the end of the week, the Sarn Empire's military force had been completely eliminated. Their ships were destroyed or captured. Their bases were ruins. Their soldiers were prisoners. The galaxy watched in shocked silence as humanity demonstrated what they had tried to warn about months earlier. When peaceful people become angry, when they are forced to fight, they do not fight to win battles. They fight to win wars completely and permanently. Admiral Hayes addressed the Galactic Council one final time. The Sarn Empire no longer exists as a military threat. Their government will be restructured under human oversight. Their war criminals will face trial. Their people will learn to live in peace. She looked directly at Chairman Vorthak. We told you not to make us angry. You chose not to listen. The galaxy has now seen the consequences of that choice. We hope it will be a lesson that lasts. The transmission ended, leaving the Galactic Council in stunned silence. They had learned, too, late why humans had warned them about their anger. 6 months after the Sarn War ended, the galaxy was a different place. The Sarn Empire was gone. Their planets were now peaceful farming worlds protected by human patrol ships. Former Sarn soldiers worked in fields and factories, learning what it meant to build things instead of destroying them. President Robert Clark stood in the rebuilt town square of New Colorado. The city had been completely reconstructed, but now it looked different. Beautiful gardens grew where buildings had once burned. A crystal memorial stood in the center, listing the names of the 38,000 people who had died. Dr. Amy Chen walked beside the president as they toured the new city. She had survived the attack and chosen to return to help rebuild. Her hospital was bigger now and better equipped than before. Mr. President, Amy said, I still have nightmares about that day. But I also dream about the future we are building here. President Clark nodded as he read the names on the memorial wall. Each name represented a person who had died simply because they were human. Each name represented someone's child, parent, friend, or neighbor. They died because aliens thought humans were weak, the president said quietly. They died because we tried too hard to be peaceful. We will never let that happen again. The memorial had words carved into its base. They were simple words, but they meant everything to the human survivors. The words said, "Here lies the peace we defended, the innocence we protected, and the fury we unleashed only when we had no choice. May the galaxy remember all three, and choose wisely." Children played in the new parks around the memorial. They laughed and ran just like children should. But human children now learned different things in school. They learned about the galaxy's dangers. They learned why their parents had to be ready to fight. They learned that being peaceful did not mean being helpless. Admiral Ryan Burke visited New Colorado regularly to check on the human fleet's newest base. The base was built underground where enemy ships could not see it. It held enough weapons and ships to defend the entire human frontier. "Admiral," asked a young reporter, "do you think we will have to fight another war like this?" Admiral Burke looked up at the sky where human patrol ships moved like protective angels. "I hope not. But if someone else decides to test us, will learn the same lesson the Sarn learned. Humans are peaceful by choice, not because we are weak." The Galactic Council had changed completely after the Sarn War. The old council that had ignored human warnings was gone. New leaders were elected who understood that humans were now a major power in the galaxy. Ambassador Jake Morrison, the captain who had first warned the aliens, now served as Earth's permanent representative to the council. He sat in meetings where aliens listened carefully to every word he said. No one laughed at human warnings anymore. "The Human Defense Code has been accepted by 47 species," Jake reported to President Clark during a video call. "It makes attacking civilian populations a crime punishable by complete military destruction." President Clark smiled. It was the first time Jake had seen him smile since New Colorado. "Good. Maybe other species will not have to learn the hard way what happens when innocent people are murdered." The new Galactic Council met in a different building now. The old meeting hall had been too big, making smaller species feel unimportant. The new hall was designed so every species could participate equally. Chairman Vorthak was gone, replaced by a younger alien who had not been part of the old system. The new chairman was called Zenth, and he came from a species that had always believed in protecting the weak. "The galaxy is more peaceful now than it has been in 500 years, Zenth announced during a council meeting. "Attacks on civilian populations have dropped to almost zero. Military conflicts are solved through negotiation instead of violence." An alien delegate asked, "Is this peace because species respect each other more or because they fear human retaliation?" Zenth thought carefully before answering. "Both. Fear can create peace when respect alone is not enough. The humans have shown us that there are worse things than losing a war. There is the shame of starting a war by murdering innocent people. On Earth, human children learned about the Sarn War in their history classes. They learned about Dr. Amy Chen's bravery. They learned about Captain Tony Valdez and the battle that lasted 14 minutes. They learned about the memorial on New Colorado and what it meant, but most importantly, they learned about the choice their species had made. Humans had chosen to be builders instead of destroyers. They had chosen to be gardeners instead of warriors. But when forced to become warriors, they had been the most effective warriors the galaxy had ever seen. Teacher Mary Johnson explained it to her class of 10-year-old students. "We did not want to fight the Sarn. We warned them not to attack us. But when they killed innocent people, we had no choice but to stop them permanently." A student raised her hand. "Mrs. Johnson, are we the strongest species in the galaxy now?" Mary smiled. "We are strong enough to protect ourselves and help others. That is all the strength we need." Human ships now patrolled the major trade routes between star systems. Pirates and raiders had almost disappeared because they knew human patrol ships would hunt them down. Merchant vessels from all species traveled safely under human protection. The galaxy had learned its lesson about human anger. More importantly, it had learned about human justice. When humans became angry, they did not strike out blindly. They struck precisely at those who deserved punishment while protecting those who needed help. Admiral Lisa Hayes often visited the memorial on New Colorado. She would stand quietly reading the names and remembering the day when everything changed. The day when humanity's hidden strength was finally revealed. "We kept our promise," she would whisper to the memorial. "We made them pay for what they did to you, and we made sure it will never happen to anyone else." The stars continued to shine. On human space, now brighter and safer than ever before, human colonies grew and prospered under the protection of fleets that no enemy dared to challenge. And in the quiet moments between the stars, when alien leaders made decisions about war and peace, they remembered the warning that Captain Jake Morrison had given them so long ago. They remembered what happened when that warning was ignored. The galaxy had learned too late why humans warned them not to make them angry. But it had learned the lesson completely, and that lesson would protect innocent people for generations to come. Peace had returned to the galaxy, enforced by those who preferred gardens to battlefields, but who could turn any battlefield into a garden when the fighting was done.